Candidate A, you have 2 minutes. You may start now.
Good evening, examiner and fellow candidates. A recent natural disaster in our country has caused a lot of damage. As a member of the relief committee, I suggest that the clean water supply should be given top priority to help the victims of the disaster. It is just because the water supply is polluted and the victims, it just can survive 3 days if they do not have the clean water supply, and they will also suffer from if they have water supply, they will not suffer from dehydration. And the victims can use the clean water supply for the main purpose. Drinking is to replenish water in our body. It's just because our body is 70% of our body is made up of water, and the victims also can use the clean water to wash. It's because after the natural disaster, everything is dirty, include our body, and furthermore, the victims can use the water supply to cook, because we cannot eat raw food, and if we just cook, we must use the clean water. If not, we may suffer in the food poisoning. And the baby also need to drink the milk, and the milk also need to use the water to make the milk to let the baby to drink. Moreover, the doctors need the clean water to clean the wound. If not, the bacteria will infect the wound.
Okay, stop. Candidate B, you have 2 minutes. You may start now.
Good morning to the examiner and fellow candidates. As a recent natural disaster in our country has caused a lot of damage, as a member of our relief committee, I think that basic food items should be provided as a top priority to help the victims of the disaster, because as the natural disaster had gone through, and the whole country will be destroyed and flattened, and there will be no fresh foods in the area. So there must have a food supply to the area, to the country, as that those foods should be can be conserved in a longer time and will not damaged by the environment, just like the snacks, the breads, the flour and the milk powder. This is as a basic supplements to the victims or the refugees, because most of the country that gone through the natural disaster will be very poor, and they cannot afford to buy foods from the country, so they need the food to supply from the other countries to help them. And foods are very important to us because it will help us to survive and give us energy and give us warmth, so that we can have the energy to rebuild the house, to shelter and to help the other victims. And with a healthy food, according to the food pyramids, we will also have enough nutrients to stay healthy, to survive as long as the period to rebuild back the houses and the shelters. If they have not sufficient of those foods that have nutrients, we will suffer from malnutrition, and this will cause a lot of disease and deaths to the victims and the refugees.
Okay, stop. Thank you. Right. Candidate C, you can start now.
Good evening, examiners and fellow candidates. A recent natural disaster in our country has caused a lot of damage. As a member of the relief committee, I think that medical supplies should be provided. As we know that the natural disaster will cause a lot of casualties. Many lives were killed. So I think that supply medicine is very important, because to save the life of people is the most important thing we should do. We should supply paracetamol, plaster, bandage, antiseptic, or even iodine to help the patient of the victim, in the victims, because the paracetamols can reduce the pain of fevers and any physical pain of the patient. And the environment after the disaster is very bad, that many vectors like mosquitoes and mouse will lead to sickness, contagious sickness, and so that we need medicine to cure the patient. And also for those who already suffer sickness like high blood pressure, they have to eat medicines on time so that their life will not in risk. And in addition, we also will ask for medical support from nearby hospital and clinic to do surgeries for the victims who suffer major physical damage, and set up a temporary first aid center or temporary hospital for them. And in addition, we'll also recruit volunteers to help us to manage the flow of to keeping up the victim. Some of them may have the knowledge in CPR, first aid, or in minor medical treatment.
Okay, stop. Right, candidate D, you have 2 minutes. You may start now.
Good evening, examiners and fellow candidates. A recent natural disaster in our country has causes a lot of damage. As a member of the relief committee, I think that temporary housing should be provided. Temporary housing is a shelter for victims to live temporarily. Let's imagine, few years ago, tsunami struck Sumatra, and after the natural disasters, the lands were flattened, and imagine how poor they were at that time. So the victims need temporary housings. Besides relief centers provided by the government, we need volunteers to give victims places to rest. The benefits for the victims to rest, the benefits for the victims are they are exhausted after surviving from natural disaster. They need place to rest. In addition, they are safe from the criminals who steals or robs them without mercy. Next, for the patients who injured, they have a place to cure their wounds and intake the medicines. And also they can, the shelter, temporary housing will keep them warm at night, because at night they are cold. We can provide them tents for temporary housing. If there are no shelters, they are homeless, they are pitiful. The victims will easily infect diseases. They are insecure after they have faced a major problem, natural disaster. They are also insecure from the privacies. Examples like their family members will talk, they are insecure from the privacies, and like the changing clothes, they are exposed to others. And for the humanity, we should help the victims.
Please stop.
Thank you.